an encroachment on land belonging to the Indian Railways or the state government is wrong. It is an illegal act. But what if the people allegedly encroaching had possession pre-independence? What if 3 generations have lived on that land, paid taxes for their homes there, have Aadhaar cards, all linked to those addresses? Government schools are running there, places of worship, government healthcare center, all exist there. Should then paramilitary forces be called to evict these people, 50,000 people in the case of Haldwani, from the only home they have known? This was the question before the top court of the country that ruled in favor of the people today. For a second time, in fact, the Supreme Court today overturned an order by the Uttarakhand High Court to evict the people of Haldwani in 7 days using any force required. Why this is an important story is because it highlights the challenges of land rights in India. Encroachment is not new here, and very often courts are called upon to untangle competing land ownership claims. But in this case, we have to ask about the human element, something the Supreme Court also talked about. Let me begin with what the Haldwani case is. Now, the first plea that led to eviction calls in Haldwani were in 2013 by one Ravi Shankar Joshi. The plea was against illegal mining in the area that had led to a bridge collapse, and the contention was that the residents of Haldwani were undertaking illegal mining. In 2016, the Uttarakhand High Court ordered the clearance of 29 acres of railway land. This was stayed by the Supreme Court in 2017. So this whole situation has taken place earlier as well. What also emerged in 2017 was that there was a dual claim to the land by railways and the state government. Cut to March 2022, the same petitioner, Ravi Joshi, files a fresh plea seeking eviction of illegal occupants. This time, he's evoked the Railways Act. In December of 2022, last year, the Uttarakhand High Court orders eviction within 7 days. It also directs force to be used to any extent and pulls up an earlier Congress government saying that they stalled the process of eviction because of vote bank politics. Today, the Supreme Court has stepped in with a reprieve and asked for a middle path where those that need to be moved are rehabilitated. Now, we talked about why these developments are important and competing claims of land in this country, but let's just talk about land encroachment of government land. And this is official data that I'm talking about. It shows that 9,622 acres of defense land has been encroached upon in the country, and 821 hectares of railway land has also been encroached upon. But can issues of land rights be looked at without the human angle? That is what we will break down today. But first, let me play out the reactions after the Supreme Court discussion.
It's a huge sign of relief, and we thank the Honorable Supreme Court, because when we came here and when we discussed the entire case with our lawyers, we want to thank Mr. Salman Khurshid, Mr. Luthra, who represented us. We took all the anomalies of the decision made by the High Court and lawfully the anomalies based on law, and we got them here. Now, the Supreme Court considered those anomalies. They considered the people who've been living there for 50 to 100 years. They considered what the railway wants, and they have asked everyone to produce their papers, which we insisted from day one should be the case. That people, if railway is saying that it's their land, show us your gazette, show us your map, show us your papers. Now they've asked the railway to produce their papers. Now
So the state of Uttarakhand is also claiming that land?
State of two-thirds of that is Nazul land, which is Uttarakhand state government land, not railway land. Not for a single day did the government of Uttarakhand represent its people or protect its own land.
Court has appreciated the fact the first utterances from the Supreme Court was that it is a human issue, it's a human right issue. You cannot tell people who have been living there for 50, 60, 70 years to just go off within 7 days. Otherwise, paramilitary forces will be used. So there were three very important points which have been made by the Supreme Court. One, it's a human issue. You cannot tell people to go off from their land, from the place where they have been living, and they have a legal right, and they say that they have the documents for that. You cannot tell them to go away. It's a human issue. Second, the government has not prepared a rehabilitation scheme which was very much necessary in matters of development where you are displacing people. Thirdly, Supreme Court has taken a strong view on the issue that the impugned judgment of the Nainital High Court has made an observation that after giving a notice of 7 days for evacuation of that land, these people did not vacate that land, then paramilitary forces should be used for vacation of that land.
देखिए उस पर हमारा पहले से ही ये मानना था कि चूँकि न्यायालय का मामला है, न्यायालय जो भी आदेश करता उसके साथ हमारी सरकार उस पर आगे कार्रवाई करती, आगे काम करती। हम न्यायालय के रुख पर ही थे, न्यायालय जो भी आदेश करेगा वो हमेशा हमें मान्य होगा।
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इस मानवीय पक्ष को समझा और उन्होंने तोड़-फोड़ की कार्रवाई जो नोटिस आदि जारी किए गए थे, जो वहाँ पुलिस फोर्स भेज दी गई थी, तोड़ने की पूरी तैयारियां हो गई थी, उस सब पर रोक लगा दी और राज्य सरकार से कहा है कि इस समस्या का समाधान निकाल कर लाओ, कैसे लोगों को बसाना है।
सबसे पहले तो जो 2016 में भी पहले हाई कोर्ट का फैसला आया था, 2007 में भी आया था, हमने सम्मानजनक उसको एक्सेप्ट किया था और कभी न्यायालय को पे पूरा भरोसा जताया था। और अब जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट में हमें आज थी जो हाई कोर्ट का निर्णय आया था उसको, लेकिन हमने लॉ एंड ऑर्डर को मेंटेन करते हुए सारी बात करी है और हमने प्रोटेस्ट किया, वो संवैधानिक तरीके से किया, शांतिपूर्वक तरीके से किया और उसके बाद सुप्रीम कोर्ट का पूरा भरोसा था क्योंकि हम लोगों के पास यहाँ पर पट्टे के कागजात हैं, हम लोगों के पास यहाँ एनओमी प्रॉपर्टीज हमने गवर्नमेंट से ली हुई है, यहाँ पर गवर्नमेंट संचालित इंटर कॉलेजेस हैं, यहाँ पर मंदिर है, यहाँ पर धर्मशाला है, यहाँ पर मस्जिद है। तो लड़ाई इसलिए थी कि हमें पता है हम यहाँ के वासी हैं, हम यहाँ पर 120-130 साल से लोग रह रहे थे। तो कैसे रेलवे रातों रात कहती है और 7 दिन का समय दे देती है कि 7 दिन में आपके घर तोड़ दिए जाएंगे। और कहीं ना कहीं कमी मैं ये जरूर कहूँगा, प्रदेश सरकार ने गुमराह किया था उच्च न्यायालय को। अगर वो प्रदेश सरकार
Advocate Piyush Garg with me on the show. He is a lawyer for the petitioner in the Uttarakhand High Court. Munna Singh Chauhan of the BJP with us. Garima Dason of the Congress speaking with us. And I'm also talking with Sanjay Hegde, Senior Advocate of the Supreme Court. Welcome to all of you and thank you so much for speaking with us. Mr. Garg, let me begin by understanding the reasons for the petition, two of them in 2013 and 2022. What is the key concern?
See, the key concern was, may I just correct you for a single case, single fact. It is not in the year 2013 that for the first time High Court passes an order. It was in 2007 that the first order was being passed. It was a PIL in the High Court wherein it was established that there is a need of construction of an extra platform. For that, the High Court noticed that there is an encroachment in railway land. High Court directed eviction of those encroachers. The matter came up to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court observed that yes, a portion of the land has already been vacated. Railway may use that portion of land, and for rest of land, railway may take steps in accordance with law, and by that time there will be a status quo. Now in 2013, Mr. Ravi Shankar Joshi files a petition. This petition was not in respect of encroachment. He initially filed a petition claiming that there is an illegal mining which led to a bridge collapse in Gola River.
Right.
Now the High Court widened the scope of PIL and then it came to light that there is an encroachment. Okay, that encroachment be removed. Now an order was passed. The aggrieved party, they went to apex court. The Honorable Supreme Court observed that you cannot evict them like this. You draw proceedings under PP Act or you give them an opportunity of hearing. Matter was remitted back to the High Court. High Court, considering all those applications, relegated the parties to PPA.
My question again, because we've been showing that timeline of events, is your client, Mr. Joshi, what is his key concern to keep going back to the court?
I appear for the residents. I was not for the petitioner. Okay. I appeared in the High Court.
Okay, right. Yeah. So what? Why do you think this has come up time and again?
This has come up time again because the railway has mixed the issues. The PIL petitioner has mixed the issues. The issue is, what is the extent of railway land? there is no document on record to establish what is the extent of the railway land. There are documents with the people saying that the government has leased out the land. The custodian has auctioned the property. People have purchased the property in auction. Weighing since the year 1930s. I was having a lease deed of 1937 in my favor, means my client's favor.
Right.
A registered lease deed of 1937. Railway says that they have been given land in 1959. Now, how is it that possible that a land which has been given by the state government in 1937 and railway can claim that in 1959 they own this land? So the first dispute was that actually what is the actual demarcation and extent of railway land. Second issue was that those people who are staying over that land, if they are encroacher, means it's a case wherein a part of land is being claimed by the residents as their own land. The government has executed lease deed, government has executed freehold deeds in favor of people, and a part of land is being claimed as that, yes, okay, that land could have been an encroachment. But even for that land, if it is an encroachment, people are staying there for last 100 years. You cannot evict them overnight, say that, okay, you go out of the land in 7 days. The apex court considered the issue in the light that, see, one, that the issue of ownership has to be decided first. Who is the owner of the property? What is the extent of the railway land? And then if a portion of land is being found to be encroached upon, that even those persons who are residing in the property in question for last 100 years have to be evicted in a manner known to law.
No. So, you know, again, the question is about ownership of the land, whether railways truly owns the land, whether the rights of the residents continues, because remember, the Supreme Court has not established their rights. They've talked on humanitarian grounds that at least let's give them some time. Let me go to Munna Singh Chauhan. Mr. Chauhan, why has this become such a political issue?
I was just hearing the the whole lot of details being provided by the learned advocate for the petitioner or the resident, whatever. You see, there is no need to go into the legal nitty-gritties because the High Court has examined the matter in the great details, and 176-page judgment has been delivered on the issue, and it is a law of the land. We have a rule of law, and every citizen has a right to move to the higher court. People have moved to the apex court, and the apex court has granted a stay on the subject, although apex court nowhere did say that this is not an encroachment on the land. So the issue of the encroachment, as the learned advocate has also pointed out, remains to be decided, and probably there are two parts of the land. One part of the land on which people have no document. As far as I understand, I have gone through the records, I have gone through the judgment, and maybe there are occupiers who have got the documents in their favor, legal documents in their favor. Although disposing of all the 15-20 intervention application, High Court has mentioned every time that not a single person of them could produce a legal document. It is merely a narration, and narration cannot be read as an evidence. The learned advocate.
Mr. Chauhan, let me come to the question of the human angle, because this issue soon became political. This issue soon became political. Sir, let me just frame the question. फिर आप पूरा बोलिए. Let me just frame the question. फिर आप पूरा बोलिए.
Let me complete. My deep anger, anguish, disappointment, dissatisfaction is entirely on the political issue. This was entirely a civil case of a civil nature involving encroachment on a railway land or a Najul land, whatever it is. But the way people throughout the country, people ganged up in hours, starting from Hyderabad, starting from Jammu Kashmir, starting from a different part of the country, Mehbooba Mufti, Farooq Abdullah, Owaisi, Imran Pratapgarhi, everyone, and branding this case as a case of persecution of the Muslim, as a case of atrocities against the Muslim. This is very, very unfortunate. This is unnecessary, causing a communal divide. This is very bad, and if this happens, then every case that progresses in the court of law, we have one of the finest judiciary of the world.
Okay. So Mr. Chauhan is saying the case was unnecessarily politicized. Garima Dason, let me get your response to that. Did your party unnecessarily politicize the case?
I would like to
One
say
minute.
Tamanna, I am,
One minute.
Tam-
Ms. Dasani, yeah.
replicate.
I am Garima Dasani. First
Yes.
and foremost, Tamanna, first and foremost, I would like to thank the Honorable Supreme Court, and this has a kind of, re-established our faith in the judiciary system of our country. And having said that, I am really disappointed at the way our chief minister of our state is giving statements to the media. When he's addressing the media, he is being so insensitive, so ruthless. He's like a father figure to the state, the people of the state. And a father never differentiates amongst his children. Despite, all the happenings over here, Munna Singh Chauhanji is saying that people are politicizing all over across the country. This is happening because the government of the state is not giving protection and shelter to the people. It's not convincing the people that no matter what happens, I am with you. He should have stood like a rock of Gibraltar between the railways and the people. He should have told the people that no matter what the verdict is, I am there to rehabilitate you. I will take care of you. I'm not going to uproot you. You, the people who are living there for 60 years, for 70 years, how could, a CM just say that it is between the railways and the court? We have nothing to do with it. The state government has no say. Whereas just now, the advocate said that
One
there
minute,
is
Munna Singh,
two-thirds of
I'll
the
come
land
to
is
you.
of the state.
I'll come to you, Munna Singh. 1 minute.
I mean, if I phrase it in Hindi, पल्ला झाड़ने वाली बात थी. Literally अपनी जिम्मेदारी से पल्ला झाड़ा है पुष्कर सिंह धामी जी ने ये कह के कि this is the land in question is between the railways and the people.
That we will comply with the court
No.
order.
So 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. I think Mr. Munna Singh Chauhan is correct in saying that in a legal proceeding, the religion of the people living there is not of key concern. 1 minute. 1 minute, Ms. Dasani, 1 minute.
Just question Munna Singh Chauhan ji, what if the Supreme Court's verdict was not in favor of the people, and what if the demolition would take place? What would be your stand in that case? Did you tell the people? Did you tell the people that we will resettle you?
If you've asked a question, ma'am, let him answer, because nobody can understand what's happening otherwise.
Nor am I saying it.
Ms. Dasani, please, I request you to wait for an answer from Mr. Chauhan if you've asked. Now, Mr. Chauhan, you can speak, sir.
Very correctly said it. We will honestly, respectfully comply with the court orders whatsoever. That's it. And any democratically elected government can only say that.
What if it was the other way around? What if the verdict was the other
People
way
have been
around?
going from court to court. Earlier also, people had gone to the High Court.
No. So now, 1 minute. I want to come to Sanjay Hegde. Politics is not entirely bereft from this case, Mr. Hegde. 1 minute. Mr. Chauhan, 1 minute. Politics is not entirely bereft from the case, because if you see the Uttarakhand High Court judgment in December of 2022. Mr. Chauhan, please wait, sir. Don't make me mute you, sir. Please wait. We'll speak one by one here. Okay, Mr. Hegde, in that 2022 order, the Uttarakhand High Court does pull up the previous government for filing a review petition against their own judgment in 2013, saying it's clear they wanted to protect a vote bank. And it is a fact that most of the people who live here are from the Muslim community. Is that why politics has seeped into it, and the human angle which the Supreme Court sees today has been lost to all?
Well, I don't know what prompted the Uttarakhand High Court to make that loose remark. You should not unnecessarily infer politics, or if it is not relevant to your judgment. The judgment was based, curiously enough, not only on 2003 or 2007, but goes all the way back to 1907. What the judgment essentially says is that in 1907, when the Nazul leases were granted, the government of that time could not have granted those leases without permission from the railway authorities. Now, if the railway authorities were to sleep for over 100 years and then say, no, this is our land after all, and this could not have been done, and notwithstanding the fact that 3 generations of people have lived there, that there are government schools there, that the government offices, like the custodian of enemy property, has auctioned properties in that area. So just forget all that. Give them 7 days notice, and if they don't go away, shoot them. Obviously, that's a judgment which is begging to be stayed by the Supreme Court. I do think that the Uttarakhand High Court went a bit overboard in its observations. And now that the entire question is before the Supreme Court, it will no doubt be examined. I was listening to the various videos which you put out earlier, and the question was of maps. What is the map? I believe that at the highest, the railway claim is for some 28 acres, whereas notices went over a space of over 70 acres in that place. So you cannot use a High Court order, no matter how many pages, as a blanket order to shoot people.
Mr. Chauhan, would you like to respond to that?
Yes, I'd like
The
to.
charge is that order was being used to evict a larger group of people.
It's as simple as that. See, Mr. Hegde has highlighted the fine details of the judgment. Although it's not exactly the same, it's a little different. High Court has said that not a single person could produce a legally valid lease deed. High Court even said not a single person could produce a single lease deed which has been registered. High Court even said that not a single person could produce a document supporting the fact that they have got the lease deed renewed. High Court even said that not a single person could produce a valid document. It is merely a narration, and narration cannot be read as an evidence. I'm not a lawyer. It's still whatever little knowledge I have as a legislator about the law,
Tamanna, may I?
I'm putting it forward. But
Tamanna,
my
may I?
concern is entirely different.
1 minute.
And I hope everyone on the panel will accept it. Garima Dosonji, everyone on the panel will support my concern. The way Farooq Abdullah, Mehbooba Mufti, the Owaisi, this Imran Pratap Gadi, the Jamaat-e-Ullah Islam, everyone started ganging up from all around and calling it a case of persecution of the Muslims, calling it a case of atrocities on the Muslims.
So why are you saying the Uttarakhand government is bothered about that? 1 minute. Are you saying the Uttarakhand government is bothered about that? I don't see how that's material to the entire case.
On the day one, it would have been very good had these people said,
I have an answer to your question.
1 minute. Garimaji wants to respond. Let's listen to her, please. Let's listen to each other. Garimaji wants to respond.
Let others also speak. Now, you can't go on forever.
Yes, Garimaji.
Are you done? Chauhanji, are you done?
Yes, he's done. Yes, he's done. Mr. Chauhan, please wait. Yes, Garimaji.
Mr. Chauhan, your slogan was, Mr. Chauhan, are you going to go?
Sir, you have to stop speaking or I will have to mute you, Mr. Chauhan. Don't do that. Don't do that.
We have got your question, sir.
Yeah.
We have got
Garimaji,
your
you please
question.
continue.
Please.
You please continue,
Don't take the
Garimaji.
name of Shaheen Bagh. Unnecessary, you people are politicizing it as Shaheen Bagh too. Please, dare not do it again. Listen, you have put forth a question. I have an answer to your question. I have an answer to your question, sir. People, you are saying the people ganged up. The people ganged up all across the country. You said that. See, your slogan was Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas and Sabka Vishwas. You couldn't portray that. People didn't have faith in you. You couldn't give a shoulder to the people. None of your leaders went amongst them. Where is your, absconding member of parliament of that area? Nainital say member of parliament is Ajay Bhatt. Where is he? Isn't he a representative of that area? Shouldn't he be there amongst those people when they are facing all this? At the time of crisis, the representative is supposed to be there. At least we expect that. So when you will not lend a helping hand or a shoulder to them, then people have to gang up because they don't have faith in their government.
Let me come to the legal portion of it.
See,
let me come to the legal portion of it.
Tamanna,
Piyush Garg, I have 2 minutes left. The person who has kept quiet through the show, unki bhi baat sun lo. Piyush Garg ji. Piyush Garg ji, what next? What next? Because the Supreme Court has not given a clean chit. There is going to be another hearing.
Correct.
Encroachment is still being alleged. You've not proven ownership of this land. There are several who don't have documentation. What next for the residents there?
Supreme Court's clear-cut observation today was that those who have documents are the owner of the property. They should not be evicted. Their rights have to be determined by an independent agency. Those who do not have any document, those who are encroachers, they have to be removed, but prior to their removal, there has to be a rehabilitation policy. This is all what the Supreme Court observed today. This is all what the Supreme Court was of the view that should have been the approach. This is what the Supreme Court says that we might do it tomorrow. Railway has been directed to come up with a plan how to put an end to it for all times to come. And just adding one thing, though I am absolutely non-political, I should not make comments on the debate which was just made between the two political rival parties. But just to clarify it, there are two temples also in the area in question. So it is not a case that complete Muslim population was sought to be wiped off from the area. It was an order by the state, by the High Court. There was an order in 2013 or 2016 also. And by that time, there was Congress government. So it's an order of the court wherein an issue has been raised, it has been decided. It was completely non-political, but because of the mass population, there it has been made political. So the good question could be...
I agree with you. I agree with you. The question is a humanitarian one.
Please.
Can you evict people, move people, 20,000, 50,000 people, in fact, who say they've been living there from 60, 70 years? If you have to do that, is there a humane way to do that? Can you bring paramilitary forces? Can bulldozer justice be applied everywhere? That's really the big question that comes out of this case. We'll have to end it here.
And then it was not an overnight encroachment. It was not an overnight encroachment. It was the people are residing there. There are roads there. There are water facility. There is electricity facility. There is sewer facility.
The fact is that this is not unique. This is not unique to this one area. This is across various states of India. You have seen this time and again. Across various states of India. Last word very quickly to Sanjay Hegde. I have just about 10-15 seconds, Mr. Hegde.
When a trespasser has to be dispossessed by due process of law. And in a lot of cases, including Narmada, as well as the Bombay hutments, the courts have said, first rehabilitate those people who are living there, give them an alternative which can be legalized. That's all that the Supreme Court did. Do not go for disproportionate force.
Well, let's keep the politics and the optics of it to one side. Which was the government? Who are the people? But the fact is that encroachment is an issue. Finding a solution which is humane is the responsibility of the state. There is no shying away from it.